Catholic school girls, so I kind of like that they get religious later. You know?
Gotcha.
Anybody else have anything?
Wait, Myron. Earlier you said that like single fathers on average do better than are better parents, right?
Yes, they're single father households don't lead to the same degenerative stats that single mother households do.
Okay, how do you square that with the fact that you just said that you think men fare worse after like a divorce? How does that set them up to be like better fathers?
What do you mean? So you're saying like men's, because divorce fucks guys up.
Yeah, I know. So like, how can they be like? How are the stats reflecting that they're better single fathers? Then?
Because they overcome.
Because the thing is that fathers typically tend to be better disciplinarians.
Oh.
And
what about resources though?
That's a part of it, but being a good disciplinarian is very important, and it's something that women typically aren't the best at. You know, typically when you have a two-parent household, who's the main disciplinarian? A lot of the times it's the father, right? When the kid's a child, right? It's like, okay, the woman can get involved, but as soon as if it's a boy, especially he hits puberty, he's not scared of his mom anymore. It's the dad that he's scared of.
I don't know. I don't even know that it's true though that men fare worse after divorce than women do. I'm pretty sure, like, if you're a single mom, you're at a greater disadvantage post-divorce than you are if you're a single father.
It depends on what metric you want to use of being disadvantaged.
There's like plenty of different metrics. I think by like most of them though, like you're now like a single mom, you have multiple kids. It's probably going to be harder for you to like re-enter the sexual marketplace, find a second husband. It's probably going to be harder for you to remarry and like have a father figure in your kid's life. You now have like a split household probably. You're going to not have as much money or whatever.
Realistically speaking, a woman can find a simp to take care of her and her kids.
She could, but is that happening though?
It does happen.
Yes, all the time.
Yes. You think the majority of single mothers are able to find partners quickly?
Why do you think we have to scream on this podcast, don't marry single moms?
Facts.
Okay.
But yes, exactly. You're saying don't marry them because like
they're not as valuable.
They're not doing well after post-divorce.
No, but the reason why we have to tell guys don't marry a single mom or don't take single mom seriously is because so many guys do it. And they fuck their lives up.
Yeah, you got to remember.
I don't think a lot of men are going after single mothers.
We can here's what
guys.
they're going after
single mothers. So maybe to hook up with them, but to be in like a long-term stable relationship, which is like what would actually reintroduce stability into that like single mom's life is to get remarried and have a father figure for her kids. Yeah, that's not happening. I don't doubt that she could get laid, probably, but like
she'll get money while she's getting the dick. Trust me.
Jeff Bezos just settled down with one.
Yeah,
and what you got to remember is one man. 1 billion nuts he's gonna bust. Single moms are getting it too. Myron, me, Sneeko, we're taking down mills.
Yes, they're getting sex, but they're not.
Well, sometimes they extract from a simp. Many times, a lot of resources, and the simps don't really mind it, right?
I don't think any woman is at an advantage by being a single mom and having multiple kids. Like, you're not going to be featuring that on your Tinder profile. Like, I'm a single mom with 3 kids.
I'll give it to you and you'll still lose. Why the fuck 80% of them initiate the divorce? If she's so mad about, this sucks, then don't fucking initiate the divorce, you dumbass. You ladies that are past the wall and get a divorce, what is the game plan? Like, nobody wants
you. The stat that you're talking about, the majority of women who initiate divorces are women without college degrees. But once women have college degrees, that's way less likely.
That's incorrect. That's absolutely incorrect.
No,
when a woman has a bachelor's degree, it actually
matter.
shoots up the chances of a divorce significantly.
No.
I literally wrote down the website. But if you want, I can find this exact stat right now. It tends to be that like women in general initiate divorce. The more educated you are, the less likely. But that's not necessarily because of education. People who are more educated tend to get married later. And usually when you get married at you're like 27, 28, your life is more stable. So you're like less likely to get into like a rushed marriage and then divorce afterwards. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily because of education, but usually educational attainment points towards whether it's more likely or not.
There's an extremely strong correlation between higher divorce rates and a female's education level.
From what I see, like that is
now, is it causation? No, but I mean, you got to look at that and see like, okay, something is off here, because when a woman has a bachelor's degree, it significantly increases the chance of divorce, somewhere around like 80-90%. I have that stat in my book as well. So I mean, here's the thing, you can find all your stats, like you can always find stats that like prove your point. But the thing is that if divorce rates are already high, right? It would make sense that the divorce rates would increase when a woman is more educated. Because when a woman's more educated, guess what? She has her own money. When a woman has her own money, she needs a man less. When a woman needs a man less, she feels she has better options. She can go ahead and do better. When women are educated, it hurts them. When women have more status, it hurts them because they think I can do better. The grass is always greener on the other side as women accumulate more status and resources.
But didn't you like explain earlier that women, when they divorce, they're trying to get like that alimony, they're trying to get that extra income or whatever by divorcing the man. So if you're already economically stable, then like that pressure or that want to steal that guy's money isn't there anymore, right?
Yes, it is, because a lot of the times they marry a guy who has more status themselves.
Okay.
And it's like fruitless to even talk about this, because if you want to clean up 80% of murders, the child should always go to the man, period. Then you take out a lot of school shooters.
What if the father doesn't want them? Like,
by fucking law, we'll put a sword to his throat. What the fuck? I'm talking about a Catholic theocracy. I'm not trying to talk about a less liberal whore system.
Wait, Myron, if single mothers were living it up on like the resources that they extract from their ex-husbands, wouldn't men be going with these single mothers to try to get the money from their like previous ex-partners? I don't think this is happening.
No.
I don't think
like old bitches.
What? Didn't you hear us earlier? Men don't care about your money.
Yeah.
Y'all want me to care about your money so bad.
Earlier in the podcast, John was saying that like he doesn't care about like that. You're like, why do I care about an OnlyFans model who makes $1 million because I can't get access to any of that? Okay, so like here's an example of a man who's trying to get like with women to get to their money.
No, he's
What?
saying
No.
He's saying it won't happen.
No, he said the reason why men don't care about a woman's money and status is because she's not going to share with us anyway. Long term.
How did you understand that? How did you understand that, Martin? You understand? You speak retard, Martin? I was like, actually, I thought I almost thought I lost.
Yo,
Martin, how did you download what she said?
Wow.
Fresh and I are looking at each other like, what the fuck?
what the
John,
fuck,
that's not what
bro?
you said earlier, and you sound disappointed. Like it sounds like you're like, why would I get with women? Like I'm trying to get with for their resources and I can't.
No. I still, even if I could touch the money, I don't care. I don't want a bitch's titties dragging to the oceans from the yacht. I'll still go for the pretty broke girl. Yo, we men can marry a broke McDonald's worker. Even if they had millions, we'd be like, no, that bitch is ugly. That's Lizzo. I'm telling you, no man goes for resources. You're thinking of the selfish gender, yours.
I don't think like NBA players and like even rappers and stuff like that are marrying the McDonald's.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Compared to their income, an NBA player is fucking a girl that's literally the poorest bitch in town compared to his income.
Only if you compare the income, though. And that's not even
Yo,
happening.
just let her think that.
You think they're not going
Just
for
let her-
beauty? They're going because she has her life together. You know why men don't care about a woman with her life together? Because any minute now, here comes the mental breakdown, and she's going to lose everything. That's what women on OnlyFans who make millions. They don't invest. They buy weird furniture and shit, and they're broke 2 years later, and they get replaced. Every OnlyFans girl I ever fucked is broker than me. They were millionaires and they lost it. I'm like, bitch, what happened? She's like, I traveled.
That
So
happens
what
with male
where the-
influencers too.
No, it
Most
doesn't.
people, working class men and women who come into money or whatever, or even people who win the lottery, they squander it because they
A
don't have any
whore
sort of
doesn't
like
even know. A whore
financial
doesn't know what
literacy.
Ethereum is. They don't. Whores don't understand crypto. They don't understand how to move their money. That's why they need boyfriends. So the boyfriends say, "Put the money in my
I
account."
mean, I could come to the logical conclusion that women aren't as good with money as men are because women control 3/4 of the debt and they're 80% of the consumer base.
And you got to remember, men see their finances as their power level. So when I sit down, I'm like, I'm a millionaire. Look how horny this bitch got. They get horny. And now look at this. Right? Now look at this. A woman does not see her millions as her power level. She knows it's her beauty that's her power level, right? She doesn't. That's why she sees money as a couch and furniture. Myron and I, we dick measure on the balcony. We were showing each other crypto. I'm like, am I beating you? Am I beating you, Myron? And he's destroying me.
If this was true, then most people who are like NBA players or in sports wouldn't be going broke shortly after they finish playing. And like honestly, I think I kind of reached the core of this. I think this is literally just a new
You're
money
using
versus
a very small percentage of men that are
You're literally
exceptional at what they're
using
doing.
1%.
The reality is that
You're talking about black guys.
women in general, okay, control most of the debt, and they're 80% of the consumer base.
most women are in debt because they are going into like trying to get higher education, which includes like a lot of debt.
look,
But no, regardless of
I
that.
don't give a fuck why. The conclusion is they control most of the debt. So you're trying to go ahead and validify why they're in debt. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
They control 3/4 of debt. Period.
Yes,
It doesn't
and
matter if
Pixie.
it's education or being a slut traveling to Tulum.
Pixie,
It
Doesn't
does.
matter.
It
Pixie,
does
Pixie,
matter
hold on, Pixie,
because-
Pixie, hold on.
Well, okay.
If 80% of the market, the commercials, even Gillette, is directed towards your gender, 80%, even Gillette commercials have to be feminine to sell to you guys because you guys hold the credit card. Why did they do that? Why do these corporations do that? Because it's much easier to sell to a retard.
Wait, the reason why debt does matter is because
A Jehovah's Witness has a long conversation with a woman, but if they come to my door, it's a holy war. You guys are women score high. Women score. That's why most women on earth are more liberal. They score high in openness and agreeableness, which are actual retard traits. And lawyers don't. Myron disagrees with everything, and he's not open to putting a fucking getting pegged and shit. Right? You guys are open to even dating a murderer prisoner. You guys are open. Maybe if I feel right with him, I'll be open to dating. And then he's strangling you to death. You guys need to shut the fuck up.
Okay,
women are more communitarian by nature. This is why they overwhelmingly vote Democrat. Unless they're married to a conservative guy, then they'll take on those traits. But in general, women prefer you get $1, you get $1, you get $1. Men, hey, you did the best job today, you get $10. Next guy gets $2. Men are hierarchy based. Women tend to be more communitarian.
And guys, by the way, John is a comedian. All right, let's move on.
All right,
so much chats here.
where are we going here?
And then ladies, we'll do questions for you guys,
Yeah,
and then
we'll
we're
do
out of here.
questions for y'all. First one to end the show. Okay, where we at? Okay.